There was a time when I was a naughty baby. I made a mess and I misbehaved. I left out my toys. I wouldn't eat all my veggies. All in all, I was depraved. See ya, pull down my pants and bend me over your knees. And now I'm so scared of what's coming.